Can animal birth really happen through the mouth? Among both land and sea creatures, there are a few fascinating examples. For instance, in the male Darwin's frog, the tadpoles develop inside his vocal sac and emerge from his mouth as tiny froglets. This is a confirmed and well-documented case of unique parental care. And the famous extinct Australian gastric brooding frogs would swallow fertilized eggs, develop the offspring in their stomach, and release them through the mouth. There are also examples among marine species, although not pregnancy in the usual sense. Some fish practice mouth brooding, incubating their eggs inside the mouth. The parents hold the eggs and young in their mouth cavity and later spit out the grown juveniles. This has been reliably documented for cichlids and cardinalfish, such as the Bongai cardinalfish, and even for some catfish like Galaictus feliceps. As for rays, they give birth tail first through the cloaca, not the mouth. So this image is simply a good photo editing job. You're watching Smart Pizza, and in the next hour you'll see the most incredible animal births, both in the number of offspring and the ways they come into the world.
If there's one animal on Earth that takes the phrase multiplying like crazy to a whole new level, it's the mouse. In one documented case, a single female mouse gave birth to an astonishing 140 babies, all in just 1 year. You've heard it right. One tiny rodent no bigger than your palm producing a small village worth of squeaky pink offspring. Mice are natural-born breeders, but even scientists were surprised by how consistent and fast this one delivered. She gave birth every few weeks, often with litters of 10 to 15 pups at a time, rarely missing a cycle. And the wildest part, she raised nearly all of them successfully. No fancy nursery, no help, just non-stop motherhood powered by instinct and high-protein snacks. Take a look at this image. This is what part of her massive baby squad might have looked like. Pink, squirming, nearly identical, like a moving sea of jelly beans with eyes. It's hard to believe, but this is real. In fact, this could be just one of her many litters. She looked like a balloon before giving birth, and afterwards she looked like she had survived a marathon. Rodents may not be glamorous, but their biology is built for reproduction. A mouse can technically get pregnant just hours after giving birth, making them some of the most efficient mothers in the entire animal kingdom. 1 year, 140 babies, and no signs of slowing down. That's not just a litter, it's a legacy. Pandas are adorable, but not exactly famous for parenting efficiency. Most panda moms can barely handle one cub at a time. Twins are often more than enough, and one usually ends up abandoned. So when a panda in China's Chimelong Safari Park gave birth to triplets, no one expected all three to survive. But this mother, named Juxiao, defied all odds, and did what no panda in captivity had ever done. She raised all three babies, successfully. Zookeepers were prepared to step in, assuming they'd need to rotate the cubs for feeding, as is often done with twins. But Juxiao surprised everyone with her patience and determination. She nursed all three, groomed them, and somehow kept them warm and safe through the most delicate weeks. The cubs, wriggly, pink, and no bigger than sticks of butter when born, grew into healthy, fluffy icons of panda success. This birth was such a milestone that it made global news, not just for being cute, but because it marked a big win for panda conservation. It proved that with the right care, and a supermom, even the most fragile beginnings can turn into something truly rare. And let's be honest, 3 baby pandas rolling around together is basically the internet's favorite dream. Meet the mola mola, also known as the ocean sunfish, a creature that looks like a giant swimming dinner plate and holds the crown for the most extreme egg-laying event on Earth. While it floats near the surface looking slow and awkward, this fish hides a mind-blowing secret. A single female can release up to 300 million eggs in one go. That number isn't a typo, it's the highest known egg count for any vertebrate. The mola doesn't lay them gently either. She releases a dense cloud of tiny glistening eggs into open water, sometimes so thick it shimmers beneath the surface like glitter. Each egg is smaller than a grain of sand, yet each one has the potential to become a fish that can grow over 2,000 pounds and stretch 10 feet across. The contrast is wild. The tiniest egg becomes one of the largest bony fish on the planet. Most of the eggs won't survive, but that's the point. Mola mola floods the ocean with life and lets nature decide which ones make it. It's not nurturing, but it works. No birth scene in the ocean compares. One moment, a quiet fish. The next, an explosion of microscopic life. Starfish don't do birth like mammals or fish, they do it like aliens. Some species have evolved a secret weapon cloning. Not just in labs, not in science fiction, real, natural cloning. A single starfish can literally split itself into parts, then regenerate each piece into a new, complete starfish. It's reproduction by disassembly. Researchers in Japan documented one species, Lynchia multifora, that could turn a single arm into an entirely new body. Over time, one starfish turned into dozens. No mating, no eggs, no waiting. Just limbs crawling off and growing fresh faces. It's like nature's version of copy and paste. Watching it happen is eerie. The limb stretches out, detaches, and begins reshaping itself over days or weeks. You can actually see it form the missing pieces. Organs, skin, even the signature 5-pointed frame. While most animals depend on careful timing and partners to reproduce, these starfish just clone themselves on demand. It's efficient, weird, and one of the wildest forms of birth in the natural world. Now picture this. You're on a whale-watching boat off the coast of Baja California. You're expecting to maybe see a tail, a spout of water, if you're lucky. But then, just feet from the boat, a massive gray whale surfaces, rolls slightly, and starts giving birth right there in front of you. That's exactly what happened to a group of stunned tourists. And someone had a camera rolling. At first the water turned a little cloudy, then a small fluke appeared, and suddenly, there it was, a newborn calf, wriggling and breaking the surface for its first breath. The mother nudged it gently with her nose, helping it rise. The entire thing happened in open water, just yards from the boat, with the tourists whispering, gasping, and trying not to drop their phones. It's one thing to see a whale. It's another to witness the exact moment one enters the world. Marine biologists say this kind of sighting is beyond rare. Whale births are almost never seen live. They usually happen at night, in secluded areas far from people. But this one, right in the spotlight. It turned an ordinary tour into a once-in-a-lifetime moment. For everyone on the boat, and for millions more who later watched the footage in awe. Scientists are used to surprises. But even seasoned researchers did a double take when a lab rat gave birth to 40 pups in one litter. That's right, not in a month, not in a year. One single delivery. For reference, the average rat gives birth to 6 to 12 babies per litter. 40? That's practically a crowd. Rats are already known for their rapid-fire breeding. A single female can give birth every 21 days. But this was something else entirely, a record breaker. Scientists speculated that selective breeding and ideal lab conditions may have made it possible. Either way, it was a rare biological jackpot. And just to put it in perspective, if every one of those 40 pups had a litter of their own, and that cycle kept repeating, you'd have thousands in a matter of months. One rat, one litter, 40 lives. That's not just birth, that's population in fast forward. When a farmer in Sardinia walked into his barn one morning, he didn't expect to find something that looked like it had walked out of a Nickelodeon cartoon. Among a litter of 5 newborn puppies, one stood out immediately, because it was bright green. Yes, green. Not dirty or moss-covered, actually green. This wasn't some camera trick or weird lighting. The puppy's fur was naturally colored like fresh-cut grass. The strange green tint comes from a natural pigment called biliverdin, the same substance that gives bruises their greenish color during healing. In rare cases, biliverdin mixes with the amniotic fluid and stains the light-colored fur of a puppy during birth. It doesn't hurt them, and the green usually fades within a few weeks. But still, how often do you get to say your dog gave birth to the Hulk? Photos of Pistachio, as he was named, quickly went viral. People compared him to Baby Yoda, others called him the Shrek of the litter. Even news outlets from other countries picked up the story. Despite all the attention, the puppy was healthy, happy, and completely normal. Aside from looking like he'd been dipped in slime. The odds of this happening are incredibly low. Only a handful of similar cases have ever been reported worldwide. As he grew, the green color faded day by day, replaced by a more traditional beige. But for those first few weeks, he was probably the most famous puppy in Italy. On a quiet farm in rural China, a sow gave birth to what looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. Among a litter of healthy, squirming piglets was one unlike the rest. It had 2 fully formed heads, 2 snouts, 2 mouths, 4 eyes. It blinked, squealed, and tried to walk, though clumsily, as if its brain wasn't sure which way to go. The piglet had polycephaly, a rare condition where embryos don't separate properly during development. Local farmers were stunned. It wasn't a trick or a fake. This was a real living animal. Photos of the 2-headed piglet spread fast online, drawing millions of views within days. Some people were fascinated, others skeptical, but the evidence was clear. Nature had just written one of its strangest chapters. 2-headed animals have been born before. Snakes, turtles, even cows. But pigs? That's rare. And to see it alive and squealing, practically unheard of. Vets examined it and confirmed that both heads responded to touch and sound. Sadly, animals with this condition often don't live long, but the birth itself is a jaw-dropper. It's a reminder that even something as familiar as a piglet can still shock us with the unexpected. From a pig with 2 heads to a dad with hundreds of babies, things only get weirder. In the underwater world, seahorses flip the script. It's the males who give birth. And not to 1 or 2 babies, but sometimes over 1,000. When it happens, it's like watching fireworks, except the sparks are tiny, wriggling seahorse fry, shooting out in every direction. The father's belly starts pulsing, and within seconds, a cloud of mini seahorses bursts from a slit on his front side. He'll twist, contract, and shake as the babies pour out, swimming away immediately. It looks chaotic, but it's a miracle of biology. The male doesn't just carry the eggs, his pouch actually nourishes them, like a womb. This isn't fantasy, it's been captured on camera in aquariums and coral reefs. And it's never not mesmerizing. The sight of a single dad bringing hundreds of new lives into the world is hard to believe, even when you're staring right at it. The moment ends quickly, but the footage lasts forever. And honestly, how many other dads can say they delivered 500 kids before breakfast? In the heart of South Africa's Kruger National Park, rangers spotted something so rare, they had to double-check their binoculars. Among a small herd of African elephants was a calf that looked almost glowing. Not gray like its family, but pale pink with bright blue eyes. It was a wild albino elephant, something so unusual that even veteran wildlife guides had never seen one in person. Albinism in elephants is incredibly rare, and even rarer in the wild. Most albino animals don't survive long because their color makes it harder to blend in and their skin is more sensitive to sun. But this little calf seemed healthy, curious, and already trying to keep up with the herd. Cameras captured the moment it stepped out from behind its mother, almost like a ghost among shadows. The footage went viral for good reason. You're looking at something that almost never happens. Not a trick of the light, not a dusty coat. A true albino elephant, born free, walking the same trails as generations before it. And the best part? The herd treated it just like any other baby. Proving that in the animal world, being different doesn't mean being left behind. That single image, pale skin against bright soil, feels like something out of a dream. But it's 100% real. Some stories feel like they belong in a sci-fi series, and this one definitely fits the bill. In a remote village in India, a goat gave birth to a newborn that left the entire community stunned. The body was clearly that of a goat, but the face was eerily human-like. Not just vaguely. It had a short snout, forward-facing eyes, and even the shape of the mouth and nose looked oddly familiar. People couldn't believe what they were seeing. Word spread fast. Locals came from miles around to witness it. Some saw it as a sign, others simply stood in disbelief. Videos and photos circulated quickly across the internet, sparking a mix of fascination and confusion. Experts later explained the phenomenon as a severe craniofacial deformity, a condition where facial features develop in unusual shapes during pregnancy. It's extremely rare, and when it does happen, the results can be striking. While the newborn didn't survive long, its brief appearance left a huge impact. It became a reminder that nature doesn't always follow the rules. Once in a while, something happens that completely challenges what we expect, and this was one of those moments. A routine farm birth suddenly turned into a viral sensation and one of the most talked about animal births in recent memory. Some called it unsettling, others called it incredible. One thing's for sure, it wasn't something you forget. You think juggling 2 kids is tough? Try carrying 20 on your back. That's just a regular Tuesday for a mother opossum. These animals don't just give birth to massive litters, sometimes up to 20 tiny babies. They carry them everywhere like a living backpack. And we're not talking about calm little passengers. These joeys cling for dear life with their tiny pink feet stacked like little moving blobs across their mother's fur. Wildlife photographers have captured this bizarre and beautiful scene. A mother opossum trotting through the woods, her back covered in squirming pups. From a distance, it looks like her back is alive, and in a way, it is. She does this for weeks, until the babies are big enough to explore on their own. It's one of the most chaotic but heartwarming sights in the wild. There's no stroller, no car seat, just a determined mom making it work with what nature gave her. And no matter how many of them there are, she makes sure they all hang on tight. It's messy, it's wild, and it's one of the coolest displays of natural parenting you'll ever see. Nature's version of a school bus, covered in fuzz, feet, and pure determination. Now let's leave dry land and dive into something truly sci-fi. Meet Alicia marginata, a sea slug that decided regular birth wasn't dramatic enough. Instead of laying eggs or splitting like a starfish, this sea slug cuts off its own head and grows a new body. Not over months, we're talking days. Researchers in Japan actually filmed it happening. The head separates from the body, crawls away, and regenerates organs, heart and all. No eggs, no partner, just a full-on reset. This bizarre trick isn't magic, it's survival. Scientists think it might be a way to shed parasites or escape infection. But here's the kicker, the slug's old body keeps moving for a while too, even after the head is gone. It's like something out of a Marvel movie, but it's 100% real. Few creatures on Earth can do this. It's a level of biological backup planning that humans can only dream of. And while most species spend time building nests or pouches, this one just rebuilds from scratch. The footage is both eerie and mesmerizing, a floating leaf-shaped slug reinventing itself from the neck down. When it comes to unforgettable births, this one might just take the crown. In Kenya's Masai Mara Reserve, a baby zebra was spotted that had no stripes. Instead, it had dark brown skin covered in white polka dots, a completely flipped pattern from what we've seen in any zoo or nature doc. Wildlife guides couldn't believe it. They named the foal Tira, and quickly confirmed it wasn't dirty or dusty. This was a case of pseudomelanism, a rare genetic mutation that scrambles the animal's usual coat pattern. Photos of Tira spread like wildfire. This wasn't just a new twist on a familiar animal, it looked like an optical illusion standing in the grass. Most zebras have crisp, barcode-like patterns, but Tira looked like a designer bag with legs. It still blended in surprisingly well with the herd, and experts said the mutation didn't seem to affect the foal's health at all. Seeing Tira was like catching a glitch in nature's design. Most people only know zebras one way, black and white stripes, clean and classic. But sometimes evolution decides to scribble outside the lines, and the result is a spotted zebra that becomes a global celebrity. No filters, no Photoshop, just raw, beautiful biology doing something totally unexpected. On the sandy shores of Florida, where sea turtles hatch by the thousands each season, a group of conservationists stumbled upon something they'd never seen before. In one nest, nestled among broken shells and scrambling hatchlings, was a baby sea turtle with two heads. One body, two fully formed heads, each blinking, each moving, each trying to crawl in a different direction. This wasn't a sculpture or a viral hoax, it was a real living hatchling with a condition called bicephaly, the result of incomplete embryo splitting. It's the same kind of biological hiccup that can lead to conjoined twins. And it was incredibly rare. Even among reptiles, where mutations are more common, this was a once-in-a-career find for the team. The little turtle made headlines around the world. Scientists documented its movements, noting that both heads were active, trying to coordinate locomotion. It didn't just look unusual, it acted that way too. While most hatchlings instinctively make a beeline for the ocean, this one wobbled in a zigzag, like it was debating which way to go. Though its survival chances in the wild were slim, the moment of discovery was unforgettable. In a sea of thousands of perfect hatchlings, this one stood out. A reminder that even nature's most ancient processes can still surprise us. Not every birth goes according to the script, and sometimes, that's exactly what makes it worth watching. In 2001, a foal was born in St. Louis, Missouri that looked more like a toy than a horse. Her name? Thumbelina. Her height? Just 17 inches tall. Weighing barely 9 pounds, she could literally fit in a backpack. At first glance, people thought she might be fake, a stuffed animal or maybe a digital trick, but no, she was very real. And she still holds the title of the smallest horse ever recorded. Thumbelina wasn't just a miniature horse, she was born with dwarfism, making her even smaller than the already tiny breed. Vets weren't sure how long she'd survive, but she proved everyone wrong. Despite her size, she had the spirit of a champion, running, eating and socializing just like any other horse, only in fun-sized form. Photos of her standing next to full-grown horses or even dogs went viral around the world. It was like seeing a real-life fairy tale unfold. She wasn't just small, she was shockingly small. And she became a celebrity, visiting children's hospitals and raising awareness for animal health issues. A horse that tiny, healthy, and full of life. That's not something you forget. Koalas might be one of the most recognizable animals on the planet, but now and then, one is born that doesn't look quite like the rest. While most koalas have soft gray or brown fur and black button noses, a handful of joeys have been born with extremely rare genetic mutations that give them totally unexpected features. from unusually light fur to partial or even full albinism. These rare births have been spotted in wildlife parks and conservation centers across Australia. A pale pink koala with silver-white fur once surprised staff at a rescue center. Another had patches of color missing across its face and ears, almost like someone had erased part of its pattern. These aren't camera tricks. They're natural variations caused by changes in pigmentation genes. Some are full albinos, but others have what's called partial leucism, where pigment is only missing in certain spots. While these unique joeys can survive just fine, they do face some challenges. Their lighter skin makes them more sensitive to sunlight, and in the wild, their pale coloring makes them stand out more to predators. That's why most of these rare koalas end up under close care in sanctuaries where they're safe and closely monitored. These births aren't just rare, they're visually stunning. A pale-furred koala climbing a tree looks like something out of a children's book. And because they happen so infrequently, every time one is spotted it feels like nature just rolled the dice and gave us something unforgettable. Giant pandas are notoriously difficult to breed. Their mating windows are short, their pregnancies are unpredictable, and single births are the norm. So when Juan, a giant panda at Zoo Parc de Beauval in France, gave birth to twins in August 2021, it was a massive moment for panda conservation. The first cub arrived safely, but just when everyone thought the labor was over, another tiny panda appeared. The staff at the zoo were overjoyed. Panda twins are extremely rare, and raising two cubs at once is a massive challenge. Newborn pandas are shockingly small, weighing only about 1/4 pound, completely pink and totally helpless. Because mother pandas struggle to care for two cubs at the same time, the zookeepers had to step in. They swapped the cubs in and out of their mother's care, keeping one with her while the other stayed in an incubator. This method helped both babies survive, ensuring they got the attention and milk they needed. The two sisters, named Juan Lily and Yuen Dudu, quickly became stars. Their birth was celebrated worldwide, and China, where giant pandas are a national treasure, was especially thrilled. These cubs weren't just adorable, they were a symbol of hope for their species. But while panda births are rare and precious, some animal births don't happen in the safety of a zoo or sanctuary. Some happen in the wild, in places where survival is a constant battle, and in Colorado, deep underground, something was happening that sent hundreds of baby rattlesnakes slithering into the world all at once. Most people would prefer to never come across a rattlesnake. But in northern Colorado, researchers stumbled upon one of the biggest rattlesnake dens ever found, home to over 2,000 snakes, and growing. Rattlesnakes don't lay eggs like many other reptiles. Instead, they give birth to live young, usually about a dozen at a time. But in this den, multiple female snakes were giving birth at the same time, causing the population to explode. Scientists set up live cameras to monitor the activity, and what they captured was jaw-dropping. Dozens of baby rattlesnakes were slithering across the ground, their tiny bodies blending into the dirt. Unlike most newborn animals, rattlesnakes are born fully developed, complete with fangs and venom. From day one, they can hunt and defend themselves. The sheer number of snakes in this mega den made it one of the largest recorded rattlesnake birthing sites in the United States. It's rare to see so many baby rattlesnakes born in one place at the same time, but the conditions in this underground network were perfect for breeding. For most people, the idea of thousands of baby rattlesnakes hatching underground is nightmare fuel. But in the animal world, even weirder births have happened. Because just a few years ago, on the plains of Kenya, a zebra gave birth to a foal that wasn't entirely zebra. Zebras are known for their black and white stripes, but when a mother zebra at Chiulu Hills National Park in Kenya gave birth, something was very different about her foal. Instead of having the usual zebra markings, her baby had a donkey-like body with faint stripes on its legs. At first, rangers thought the foal might be sick, but as they got closer, they realized something incredible had happened. This was a zonkey, a hybrid between a zebra and a donkey. This wasn't a case of human interference. It happened naturally in the wild. The mother zebra had wandered out of the park and into a nearby community, where she likely mated with a local donkey. When she returned to the protected area, she was already pregnant with a foal that was half zebra, half donkey. Zonkies are extremely rare because zebras and donkeys have different numbers of chromosomes, making successful hybrid births unlikely, but somehow, this little foal defied the odds. Hybrids like zonkies don't usually happen in the wild. Zebras and donkeys don't naturally pair up, but in areas where human settlements overlap with wildlife, strange things can occur. While the little zonkey looked different from the rest of the zebra herd, its mother accepted it completely, raising it as one of her own. Horses have been around humans for thousands of years, but one species almost didn't make it: the Przewalski's horse. This wild horse, native to the Mongolian steppes, was declared extinct in the wild in the 1960s. The only ones left were in captivity, and their genetic diversity was shrinking fast. Then, in August 2020, something incredible happened. Scientists successfully cloned a Przewalski's horse for the first time in history. The foal, named Kurt, was created from 40-year-old frozen DNA, making him a genetic copy of a wild horse that lived decades ago. To pull this off, scientists used a domestic horse surrogate mother. The embryo, created in a lab, was implanted into the surrogate, and after a normal horse pregnancy, Kurt was born. He looked like a typical Przewalski's horse, stocky, with a short mane and a strong build, but he was also a sign of what's possible for endangered species. Kurt's birth wasn't just about saving one species, it was a test of whether cloning could be used to revive other animals on the brink of extinction. If Przewalski's horses could be cloned successfully, what about rhinos, bison, maybe even species that are already extinct? Scientists are already working on projects to bring back the woolly mammoth, using similar techniques. Reptiles have some of the strangest reproductive methods in the animal kingdom, but what happened with this copperhead snake in Virginia was something scientists almost didn't believe. She gave birth without ever meeting a male, not once, but twice. In 2012, a team of researchers studying wild copperheads found a female that had delivered a clutch of baby snakes. But there was one problem: she had been living alone, with no male copperhead anywhere near her. How was this possible? The answer: parthenogenesis. It's a rare phenomenon where a female animal can self-fertilize, producing offspring without a male. It happens in some insects, reptiles, and even a few birds, but in snakes, it's extremely unusual. Scientists were amazed but thought it was just a one-time fluke. Then in 2019, the same snake did it again. Without any male contact, she gave birth to another set of baby snakes. This confirmed that some female copperheads are capable of reproducing entirely on their own, without needing fertilization. The baby snakes were small but fully functional, equipped with venom and ready to survive on their own. This kind of reproduction might help snakes survive in the wild, especially in areas where males are scarce. It's a built-in backup plan for continuing the species when mates are hard to find. We are looking at one of nature's most astonishing feats: a lizard that cloned itself to form an entirely new colony. This phenomenon, known to you as parthenogenesis, is seen in certain species of whiptail lizards, where females reproduce without mating. In the arid landscapes of New Mexico, a single female lizard established a thriving population by producing genetically identical offspring. These lizards bypass traditional reproduction, laying unfertilized eggs that develop into viable clones. What makes this process even more fascinating is its precision. Every offspring is a perfect genetic copy of the mother, ensuring continuity of the species even in isolated conditions. This unique ability doesn't come without limitations. A lack of genetic diversity means these populations are more vulnerable to diseases or environmental changes. Still, their resilience is nothing short of extraordinary. These lizards not only defy the odds of survival, but also challenge our understanding of reproduction. In the harsh, unforgiving deserts, the story of these self-cloning lizards proves that nature always finds a way, no matter how unconventional it may seem. From deserts to the farmyard, let's visit a small village in Sri Lanka, where an ordinary hen achieved something truly extraordinary, giving birth to a live chick without laying an egg. The event left villagers and scientists alike baffled, as it defied the very nature of avian reproduction. Typically, a hen's egg is laid and incubated externally. In this rare case, the egg remained inside the hen's body, where it developed and hatched. The phenomenon is incredibly rare, and comes with significant risks. The chick's internal hatching caused complications for the hen, and unfortunately, she did not survive the ordeal. However, the chick emerged healthy and thrived under the care of the farmer. This unusual event highlights the delicate and intricate process of egg formation, which typically involves the shell forming as a protective layer around the developing embryo. In a story that sounds almost like science fiction, the gastric brooding frog, declared extinct in 1983, stunned scientists when it laid eggs decades later, thanks to groundbreaking de-extinction research. Native to Australia, this frog was unique for its bizarre reproductive method. Females swallowed their fertilized eggs, incubated them in their stomachs, and eventually gave birth through their mouths. In 2013, researchers with the Lazarus Project used preserved genetic material to implant the frog's DNA into eggs from a related species. Incredibly, the embryos began to develop, offering hope for reviving extinct species. While the embryos didn't survive to full term, the event marked a breakthrough in de-extinction science. This extraordinary case not only highlighted the frog's fascinating biology, but also underscored the potential of genetic research in conservation. A beagle giving birth to an Arctic wolf sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, but in 2022, that's exactly what happened. In a groundbreaking achievement, Chinese scientists successfully cloned an Arctic wolf named Maya, using a beagle as the surrogate mother. This was one of the biggest breakthroughs in conservation cloning, offering new hope for endangered species. Arctic wolves, known for their thick white fur and ability to survive extreme cold, are usually found in the remote tundras of North America. But this particular wolf, Maya, wasn't born in the wild. Instead, she was a genetic copy of another wolf, created in a laboratory using cutting-edge cloning techniques. The process started with DNA taken from a wild Arctic wolf. Scientists then placed this genetic material into a dog egg cell, creating an embryo that was implanted into a beagle. Beagles were chosen because their size and reproductive cycle closely matched those of a wolf. When the pregnancy reached full term, the beagle gave birth to a perfectly healthy Arctic wolf pup. Maya wasn't just a scientific experiment, she was a fully functional Arctic wolf, raised in a controlled environment where researchers could monitor her development. The goal wasn't just to see if cloning could work, but to explore whether this technology could be used to help save endangered species in the future. Arctic wolves are not currently at critical risk, but many other species like the Przewalski's horse and even the woolly mammoth could benefit from similar techniques. The birth of Maya raised big questions. Could cloned animals be introduced back into the wild? Would they behave the same way as naturally born animals? Could this technology one day bring back extinct species? While the answers aren't fully clear yet, one thing is certain: a beagle giving birth to a wolf is just the beginning of what's possible. Most animals stop reproducing after a certain age, but Henry, a tuatara from New Zealand, didn't seem to care about the rules. At 80 years old, he became a first-time father, proving that even in the animal kingdom, it's never too late to start a family. Tuataras are not lizards. They look like lizards, but they belong to an ancient group of reptiles that have been around since the time of the dinosaurs. They grow slowly, live for over 100 years, and are one of the most unique creatures on the planet. But Henry, despite his long life, had never fathered any offspring. For decades, he showed no interest in mating and was even known for being aggressive toward other tuataras. That all changed when he was introduced to a female tuatara named Mildred at the Southland Museum in Invercargill. Something clicked, and for the first time in his long life, Henry finally became a dad. Mildred laid 11 eggs, and when they hatched, healthy baby tuataras crawled out, marking an incredible moment in conservation history. Scientists were shocked. They had no idea a male tuatara could still reproduce at such an advanced age. It turns out that unlike most reptiles, tuataras don't have a strict reproductive cutoff. As long as they're healthy, they can keep producing offspring well into old age. This was a major win for conservation efforts. Tuataras are a protected species, and every successful birth helps increase their population. Henry's story gave hope that even older tuataras could still play a role in keeping their species alive. Horses are powerful, majestic animals built for speed and strength. Even the smallest breeds, like miniature horses, are usually about 2 feet tall at birth. But in 2010, in Barnstead, New Hampshire, a tiny foal named Einstein completely shattered expectations. He was so small at birth that he barely looked real, standing just 14 inches tall and weighing only 6 pounds. Most miniature horses are small because of dwarfism, a genetic condition that can cause health problems. But Einstein was different. He had perfect proportions, just like a normal horse, only on a much smaller scale. That's what made him so special. He was simply a tiny, fully healthy horse. When Einstein was born, he was so small he could be picked up and cradled like a puppy. His owners, a couple who raised miniature horses, were stunned. They knew they had something special, but they had no idea just how famous he would become. Within weeks, word spread and Einstein became an internet sensation. People couldn't believe a horse that small could exist. As he grew, he stayed remarkably tiny. Even at full size, Einstein remained one of the smallest horses ever recorded, never reaching the size of other miniature horses. His small frame, combined with his lively personality, made him one of the most unique equines in history. Horses come in all shapes and sizes, but Einstein showed the world just how incredibly tiny a horse could be. And while his birth was record-breaking, the animal kingdom isn't just about size, it's also about unexpected families. Because while Einstein was making headlines for being the smallest horse, two penguins in Australia were making history as the most famous same-sex penguin parents ever. Penguins are some of the best parents in the animal kingdom. They take turns keeping their eggs warm, feeding their chicks, and protecting them from predators. But in 2018, at Sea Life Sydney Aquarium, something unusual happened. A pair of male Gen 2 penguins, Sven and Magic, were given an egg to care for, and they successfully hatched a chick. Same-sex penguin couples aren't unheard of. In the wild and in zoos, male penguin pairs have been seen building nests together and trying to hatch rocks, treating them like real eggs. But Sven and Magic were different. The zookeepers noticed that these two weren't just playing around, they were serious about becoming parents. To test their skills, the aquarium staff gave them a dummy egg. They took turns sitting on it, gently rolling it between their feet to keep it warm, just like any other penguin parents. Seeing how dedicated they were, the keepers decided to give them a real egg from another pair that had laid two. Sven and Magic took their new responsibility seriously. They guarded the egg, kept it warm, and made sure it was always safe. Weeks later, the egg hatched, and out came a healthy chick. The two dads cared for their baby just like any other penguin couple, feeding, cleaning, and keeping the little one warm. Their story became world famous, and Sven and Magic quickly became one of the most beloved penguin couples in history. Some baby animals enter the world soft and helpless. Others come out covered in spikes. Meet the tenrec, a bizarre little creature from Madagascar that looks like a hedgehog mixed with a shrew. Unlike most spiky animals which have soft fur at birth, tenrec babies are born with fully formed quills, ready to defend themselves from the moment they arrive. But that's not the only wild thing about them. While most mammals have a few babies at a time, tenrecs break the record with some of the largest litters in the animal kingdom. A single tenrec mother can give birth to as many as 32 babies at once. That's more than most dogs, cats, or even rodents. A litter that big means chaos. The tiny needle-covered newborns scramble for milk, climbing over each other in a spiky pile. Their mother, despite being small herself, somehow manages to feed and care for them all. As they grow, the spikes become even sharper, acting as built-in armor against predators. Tenrecs are one of Madagascar's weirdest animals, and their extreme birth sizes make them even stranger. But while a tenrec mom juggling 30-plus babies is impressive, there's another mother out there who had the world watching her every move. And this time, it wasn't just scientists paying attention, the entire country of China was on edge. Most cows give birth to a single calf. Some lucky farmers witness twins. Every once in a while triplets arrive, and that's already a big surprise. But a cow in Powys, Wales did something nearly impossible. She gave birth to quadruplets, a 1 in 700,000 chance. And what makes it even more astonishing? All four survived. The odds of that happening? 1 in 11 million. The farmer who owns the cow couldn't believe it when he saw 4 tiny calves wobbling on their legs. At first he thought it had to be a mistake, maybe some of the calves belonged to another cow. But no, his cow had indeed delivered 4 healthy babies. He called in the vet just to be sure, and the vet confirmed it. The births were real, and the mother was doing just fine. Cows are not designed to carry 4 calves at once. Their bodies struggle to provide enough nutrients for that many growing babies. In most cases, not all the calves survive. Some don't make it to birth, and even if they do, they often come out weak. But against all odds, these 4 calves were alive, kicking, and nursing. The farmer and his family had their hands full. 4 calves at once meant 4 times the feeding, 4 times the care, and 4 times the work. But it also meant 4 times the joy. They gave the calves special attention, making sure each one got enough milk. In a typical situation, a cow would only have enough milk for 1 or 2 calves, so the farmer had to step in and bottle feed them extra nutrients. Having a big litter is one thing, but what happened to Tia, a Neapolitan Mastiff in the UK, is something out of a record book. In 2004, she stunned the world by giving birth to 24 puppies in a single litter, setting the Guinness World Record for the largest number of puppies born at once. A typical Neapolitan Mastiff litter is around 6 to 10 puppies, so this was completely off the charts. Tia's labor was long and exhausting. Mastiffs are massive dogs built for strength and protection, but even for a dog of her size, carrying 24 puppies was a huge challenge. By the time she finished delivering, she was beyond exhausted, and the owners could hardly believe what they had just witnessed. They knew big litters were possible, but 24 puppies? It was almost impossible. The real challenge began after the birth. A mother dog can only feed so many puppies at once, and Tia was way outnumbered. The owners had to step in, bottle feeding the puppies around the clock to make sure every single one got the nutrition it needed. With that many puppies, there was constant movement. Some were sleeping, some were eating, some were tumbling over each other in a chaotic pile of fur and tiny paws. Even more remarkable, 20 of the 24 puppies survived, an incredibly high number for such a large litter. Raising that many puppies at once was no small task, but Tia, even after such a demanding birth, kept a close watch on them. She cleaned them, snuggled them, and made sure they stayed safe. Tia's record-breaking litter made headlines around the world. Dog breeders, veterinarians, and animal lovers couldn't believe it. The birth wasn't just rare, it was one of the most extreme births ever recorded in the canine world. And as wild as this story was, the animal kingdom had even more surprises. Because if you think 24 puppies in one litter is impressive, wait until you hear about the elephant that gave birth to a set of twins for the first time in nearly 80 years. A baby elephant is already a rare and incredible sight, but 2 elephant calves born at the same time? That's something almost unheard of. In 2021 at Pinnawala Elephant Orphanage in Sri Lanka, a 25-year-old elephant named Sarangi did what most elephants never do. She gave birth to twins. It was the first twin elephant birth recorded in Sri Lanka in nearly 80 years. Elephants have some of the longest pregnancies in the animal kingdom. Their gestation period lasts about 22 months, nearly 2 full years. Carrying even 1 calf is a massive challenge for a mother elephant, but carrying 2, that's an entirely different level. When Sarangi went into labor, the sanctuary staff knew something special was happening. The first calf arrived healthy and strong. Then, just when everyone thought the birth was over, another tiny trunk appeared. A second baby elephant was on its way. It was a shocking moment. Twin births in elephants are so rare that many elephant caretakers go their entire lives without ever seeing one. At birth, the twin boys were noticeably smaller than a typical newborn elephant, but both were alert, standing and feeding well. Their mother, though exhausted, showed no hesitation in caring for them. She stood protectively over them, using her trunk to nudge them closer when they stumbled, guiding them toward her milk and keeping them safe from the curious eyes of other elephants in the herd. As the days passed, the twins grew stronger, learning to walk side by side and explore their surroundings together. Elephants form deep family bonds, and these two would have the ultimate built-in companion for life.
It's also impossible not to mention the process that comes before pregnancy. Next, I'll tell you about the mating rituals of animals. Among our closest relatives, bonobos stand out for the way they use intimacy. Unlike many animals where mating is purely about reproduction, bonobos use sexual behavior as a tool for peace, bonding, and social order. When tensions rise within a group, instead of fighting, bonobos often engage in acts of affection that diffuse conflict almost instantly. This unusual strategy has earned them the nickname, the hippies of the primate world. Yet behind the light-hearted comparisons lies a fascinating truth for bonobos. Love and cooperation are tightly linked. Their courtship rituals can involve face-to-face contact, something rare in the animal kingdom, and frequent displays of affection that strengthen pair bonds. Both males and females initiate these interactions, and hierarchies are shaped less by aggression and more by alliances formed through these behaviors. Female bonobos, in particular, hold significant influence within their groups, often maintaining peace and cooperation through strong social ties. Scientists studying bonobos have noted how different they are from their close cousins, chimpanzees, whose societies can be far more aggressive. In many ways, bonobos provide a glimpse into an alternative path of evolution, one where survival depends as much on empathy and unity as on strength. Watching them is like seeing a mirror held up to humanity, raising questions about how deeply cooperation and intimacy may have shaped our own species. Across the open oceans, albatrosses are legends of endurance, gliding thousands of miles on wings that can stretch more than 11 feet. But their greatest display isn't just in flight, it's in their courtship. When young albatrosses reach maturity, they spend years perfecting complex dances that will one day win them a partner for life. These dances are breathtakingly detailed head bobbing, sky pointing, bill clacking, synchronized stepping, and elegant bowing. It can look almost like a waltz, performed with precision that rivals ballroom dancers. Each bird practices until its rhythm and timing are flawless, because when the moment comes to find a mate, only the most graceful routines succeed. Once a pair bonds, they return to each other season after season, performing the same dance that first brought them together. Scientists have found that albatross pairs often stay together for decades, sometimes for life, raising chicks on remote islands. Their loyalty and the beauty of their rituals have made them symbols of enduring love, inspiring stories, and even songs in human culture. The patience behind these dances is astonishing. Some birds may take more than 10 years before finally securing a lifelong partner. In a world where many species rely on strength or flashy colors, albatrosses prove that dedication, rhythm, and shared movement can be the most powerful love story of all. Among insects, few courtship rituals are as shocking as those of the praying mantis. These slender hunters are already known for their alien appearance, with triangular heads and powerful forelegs that can snatch prey in a flash. Yet during mating, another side of their predatory nature appears. Females are larger than males and sometimes turn their mate into a meal even while the act is still happening. To human eyes, it looks brutal, but for mantises it serves a biological purpose. The nutrients from the male's body help the female produce more eggs, boosting the survival of her offspring. What makes this ritual even stranger is that males still approach females despite the risk. Some carefully creep up from behind, while others leap onto the female in a split-second attempt to start mating before she can react. In many cases, even when the male loses his head, literally, his body continues the process, ensuring reproduction goes on. Scientists believe this risky strategy has endured because it gives the next generation a better chance at thriving. Watching this unfold is both fascinating and unsettling, reminding us that in nature, survival often bends the rules we expect. For viewers, the praying mantis courtship feels almost like a scene from a horror film, where romance and danger are inseparable and love can truly cost everything. On remote beaches where elephant seals gather to breed, the shoreline turns into an arena of giants. These colossal animals, with males weighing up to 8,000 pounds, fight for dominance in brutal clashes that decide who will control entire harems of females. The ritual begins with deep, thunderous bellows that echo across the sand, serving as both a warning and a challenge. When two rivals meet, they rise up on their massive bodies and crash into each other with tremendous force. Their thick necks, covered in scar tissue from past fights, absorb the blows, but blood often stains the sand as the struggle continues. Victory in these battles brings enormous rewards. A dominant male, known as a beachmaster, can command a harem of dozens of females, fathering the majority of pups born that season. For the losers, defeat means isolation and the loss of reproductive opportunity. The sight is both fearsome and awe-inspiring, as these lumbering giants turn violent and agile in defense of their right to mate. Yet the system is efficient once dominance is established. Females are spared from constant harassment, and only the strongest males pass on their genes. Watching an elephant-seal battle feels like witnessing an ancient gladiator fight loud, raw, and unforgettable. It's a stark reminder that in the natural world, the path to fatherhood can be as dangerous as it is rewarding. In the pitch-black depths of the ocean, far below where sunlight can ever reach, lives one of the most bizarre couples in the animal kingdom, the anglerfish. On the surface, this predator already looks otherworldly, with its gaping mouth full of needle-like teeth and the glowing lure it dangles in front of its face to attract prey. Yet the way it reproduces is even stranger. Males are tiny compared to females, sometimes less than 1/10 their size. A female can grow up to 3 feet long, while a male is only a few inches. Instead of wooing her with dance or song, the male latches onto her body with his teeth. Over time, his body fuses with hers until he is nothing more than a living appendage, supplying sperm in exchange for nutrients. This isn't a quick encounter, it is a permanent bond. The male essentially loses his independence, becoming part of the female's body. What's even wilder is that some females don't settle for just one. They can have multiple males fused to their body at once, lined up like bizarre accessories. To scientists, this extreme lifestyle is nature's way of ensuring reproduction in a place where finding a partner is incredibly rare. The deep sea is a vast, empty desert, and bumping into another anglerfish can take years. So when a male finally finds a female, he makes sure he never lets go. In many ways, this fusion is like the ultimate commitment, far beyond the vows and rings of human marriage. If you've ever thought of alien creatures from sci-fi films like Alien or The Abyss, the anglerfish easily rivals them in strangeness. It is a living reminder that the deep ocean holds secrets that are more bizarre than fiction. In the forests of Australia and New Guinea lives a bird that doesn't rely on songs or flashy feathers alone to find a mate. Male bowerbirds are the master architects of the animal world. Instead of building nests, they construct elaborate bowers, which are decorative structures made of sticks carefully arranged like small huts or archways. What makes them extraordinary is the effort males put into decorating them. They gather anything that catches the eye: bright berries, colorful flowers, shiny beetle shells, even discarded plastic or bottle caps. Each item is meticulously placed to impress a potential partner. Some species even arrange their treasures by color, creating patterns that look like modern art. When a female approaches, the male doesn't just sit and wait. He performs dances around the bower, sometimes imitating the calls of other birds, or producing strange noises that sound almost mechanical. The female inspects everything: the symmetry, the neatness, the creativity. If she isn't impressed, she leaves and all the effort goes to waste. But if the design and performance capture her interest, she will accept the male as her mate. This strange ritual has fascinated scientists for decades because it shows a level of creativity and aesthetic choice that is rare in the wild. It's almost as if these birds invented interior design long before humans did. Some researchers even compare their displays to human art galleries, where presentation is just as important as the content. Among the strangest battles in the natural world are those fought by flatworms. These creatures are hermaphrodites, which means each one carries both male and female organs. When two of them meet, they don't quietly agree on who will take which role. Instead, they engage in a bizarre duel with their bodies, trying to pierce the skin of the other with a reproductive organ. This strange contest has been nicknamed fencing because it looks like two tiny swordsmen locked in combat. The winner successfully injects sperm into the loser, who is then left to carry and raise the offspring. The fight can last for hours, with the flatworms twisting, flipping, and stabbing in a display that looks almost like martial arts. For scientists, this behavior is a unique way of understanding how evolution works when both partners are capable of being mothers or fathers. The fencing ensures that neither wastes energy carrying offspring unless they absolutely must. It's a risky tactic, but in their world, being the one who avoids pregnancy is considered the ultimate win. For viewers used to thinking of reproduction as tender or cooperative, the flatworm's strategy feels more like a gladiator duel. It's a reminder that survival in the natural world sometimes turns intimacy into battle. Few animals turn our idea of parenting upside down as much as seahorses. In this world, it's the males that carry the babies. The female deposits her eggs into a pouch on the male's belly, and from that moment on, the roles are reversed. The male fertilizes the eggs inside the pouch, then carries them for several weeks until tiny, fully formed seahorses are ready to be released into the ocean. Watching this birth is astonishing. Hundreds of miniature seahorses emerge at once, jetting out into the water like confetti at a celebration. What makes it even more unusual is how carefully the male regulates the environment inside his pouch. He controls the salt levels and provides oxygen, much like a human placenta. Scientists have even compared the complexity of this system to mammalian pregnancy. The ritual of courtship leading up to this is just as fascinating. Before eggs are transferred, males and females dance together, sometimes holding tails and swimming in perfect synchronization. This bonding can last for days, showing that their relationship is built on trust before the dramatic role reversal begins. In a world where fatherhood usually ends at conception, seahorses completely rewrite the script, proving that even in the animal kingdom, parenting comes in many forms. Beneath the waves of the Pacific, a tiny male pufferfish performs one of the most breathtaking love displays in the animal kingdom. Barely a few inches long, he becomes an artist on the sandy seafloor. Using nothing but the beats of his fins, he carves massive circular patterns that can stretch over 6 feet across, nearly 200 times his own size. These designs look like underwater crop circles or mandalas, with intricate ridges and valleys radiating outward in perfect symmetry. He spends days, sometimes more than a week, tirelessly sculpting the sand. The effort is enormous, especially for such a small fish, but the reward could mean passing on his genes. Once his masterpiece is complete, females glide past, inspecting the patterns. They look for balance, size, and detail. If the display is impressive enough, a female chooses the artist and lays her eggs in the very center of the design. The grooves he built help protect the eggs from currents, showing that the beauty isn't just decoration, it's practical engineering. What's even more incredible is that after the eggs hatch, the current erases the mandala, and the male starts from scratch all over again. This ritual is so stunning that divers often compare the sight to something out of an animated film or fantasy world. The pufferfish proves that courtship in the ocean can be just as creative and awe-inspiring as any human artwork. On the icy shores where emperor and Adélie penguins live, love doesn't come with flowers or chocolates. It comes with a pebble. For these birds, a small, smooth stone can mean everything. During the breeding season, a male searches for the perfect pebble to offer a female. He carefully picks it up in his beak, waddles over, and places it at her feet. If she accepts, she tucks it into the nest she's building, and that gesture seals their bond. It's a ritual that looks surprisingly familiar to humans, almost like a marriage proposal with a ring. The pebble isn't just symbolic, though. It's practical, too. Penguins use stones to build raised nests that protect their eggs from melting snow and icy water. A good collection of pebbles can mean the difference between survival and disaster for the next generation. The competition for these tiny treasures can be fierce. Some males steal pebbles from their neighbors, sneaking over when no one is watching. Others fight for prime nesting sites with the best stones. Female penguins are highly selective. They don't just accept any pebble, they judge the male's persistence and the quality of his offering. Scientists believe this ritual reveals the male's commitment and strength, qualities that directly impact the chances of raising healthy chicks. What makes it even more fascinating is how lifelong bonds often form from these exchanges. Once a pair is established, they may return to each other year after year, greeting one another with calls and bowing displays that reinforce their connection. In a harsh, frozen world where survival depends on teamwork, the humble pebble becomes a symbol of trust, partnership, and the strange but wonderful ways love finds its form in nature. High on the African savanna, giraffes turn what looks like slow-motion sparring into a dramatic contest for love. Male giraffes don't roar or chase to win over females. They fight with their necks. This ritual, called necking, involves two males standing side by side and swinging their long, powerful necks like battering rams. Their heavy skulls, tipped with horn-like ossicones, smash into each other's bodies with incredible force. The battles can last for hours, and while they often look graceful from a distance, each swing carries the strength to knock a rival off balance. Sometimes the impact is so strong that dust flies into the air as if a drum had been struck. The purpose of this combat is to establish dominance. Females prefer to mate with the strongest males, and victory in these duels proves endurance and power. Interestingly, not every fight is brutal. Many necking contests end without serious injury as the rivals eventually recognize who is stronger. When a winner emerges, he earns the right to approach a female in heat. Yet even after battle, there is a surprising tenderness. Males often nuzzle or rest their heads on the opponent they just fought, as if acknowledging mutual respect. Scientists have noted that these interactions are not only about reproduction, but also about building a hierarchy among males. For viewers used to thinking of giraffes as peaceful giants quietly grazing on treetops, seeing them clash in these dramatic battles feels almost cinematic, like something from a wildlife duel in planet Earth. It's proof that even the tallest, calmest animals must sometimes fight hard to secure their chance at passing on their genes. Deep in the rainforests of Papua New Guinea, birds of paradise transform the forest floor into a stage. These males are the rock stars of the bird world, showing off dazzling feathers that look like living jewels. Some species display shimmering blues and greens, while others have tails that shimmer like ribbons or feathers that spread into perfect circles. Yet their appearance is only part of the act. The true magic is in their dance. A male may clear a patch of ground, sweeping away leaves and debris to create a spotless performance area. Then he begins his routine, hopping, twisting, spreading feathers, and even hanging upside down from branches. Some spin in circles like ballerinas, others stomp rhythmically, and a few perform elaborate sequences that look choreographed. Females sit in silence, watching intently. If the dance is sloppy or the feathers dull, the male is ignored. But if he dazzles, she chooses him. What's remarkable is the sheer variety of moves. Some males perform solo while others form groups, almost like boy bands, practicing routines together to impress the female audience. Scientists believe this extravagance developed because females are so selective. They reward only the very best performances, pushing males to evolve ever more spectacular displays. For human viewers, watching these routines feels strangely familiar. It's as if nature created its own Broadway musicals long before humans did. Birds of Paradise prove that in the wild, romance is sometimes less about brute strength and more about style, precision, and showmanship. In the forests of Central America, white-fronted parrots have a courtship ritual that looks surprisingly tender. They kiss. When a male is courting a female, he leans in and locks beaks with her. The pair presses together and sometimes even exchange tongues in a display that looks almost human. Yet this ritual isn't just affection. It has a practical twist. After locking beaks, the male often regurgitates partially digested food into the female's mouth. To us, that might sound unappealing, but in the parrot world, it's an intimate gift, proving that he can provide nourishment for both her and any future chicks. These kisses can last for several minutes and are often repeated throughout the breeding season. Once bonded, the pairs remain close, reinforcing their partnership with gentle grooming and constant communication through squawks and whistles. Observers often describe these parrots as one of the most affectionate species of birds, and their rituals have fascinated researchers because they show parallels to human displays of intimacy. What's also remarkable is that these bonds are strong. Many pairs return to each other year after year. Watching them, it's easy to understand why parrots have inspired myths about loyalty and romance across cultures. The simple act of beak-to-beak contact becomes a declaration of trust, commitment, and a reminder that even in the wild, affection can be as important as survival. In the Australian outback, the tiny redback spider performs one of the most extreme love stories in the animal kingdom. Males are much smaller than females, sometimes less than 1/10 their size. And approaching a mate is a life-or-death gamble. When he finally finds a female, the male doesn't just cautiously court her, he willingly offers himself up in the process. During mating, he performs a strange backflip, placing his abdomen right near the female's fangs. Often, she begins to eat him while the act is still going on. To us, it seems shocking, but to the redback, this sacrifice is a reproductive strategy. By distracting her with his own body, he ensures that the mating lasts longer, which greatly increases the chances of fertilizing her eggs. What makes this ritual even more surprising is that not every female consumes her mate, but males still attempt the same risky maneuver almost every time. Scientists believe it's an evolutionary choice. The male's own survival is far less valuable than successfully passing on his genes. Some males even manage to mate with a second female afterward, though most meet their end during the first attempt. For humans, the idea of romance ending in self-destruction may sound like something out of a dark love story or even a gothic film, but in the spider world, it's practical. The redback's ritual shows just how far evolution can push the boundaries of courtship, turning love into a strategy where the ultimate act of devotion is giving everything, even life itself. That's about it. Which ritual impressed you the most? Write in the comments. For more useful information, watch other videos.